Why are we slow and fast in dealing with the issues of capital and finance? The subprime mortgage crisis finally made Bernanke uneasy. First, he cut the bank rate by basis points, and then the quasi-interest rate has been reduced to 2%. The practical action of saving the market first completely overturned its previously held belief that inflation is the primary goal of monetary policy, in sharp contrast to the rapidity of the rescue action. The U.S. Federal Reserve turned a blind eye to the foam and reacted slowly to the foam in the slow accumulation process of the housing market. Behind this policy's division reflects human alienation. Before taking over the role of the Federal Reserve, Bernanke was a non-foam theorist and also published an academic paper asserting that monetary policy is essentially powerless to foam. While his behavior in the subprime mortgage crisis was undoubtedly self-defeating, also betraying his beliefs is his predecessor Greenspan, who was a disciple of economic liberalism in his college years. But once he took the baton of the Federal Reserve, he immediately changed his face and repeatedly intervened in the operation of the invisible hand with the visible hand of policy. Two generations of Federal Reserve leaders have a dual personality in their bodies. Looking at the current Chinese economy, there is also a similar phenomenon of slow and rapid growth. On the one hand, in terms of capital, the regulatory response in finance and state-owned enterprises is swift and hasty. Huajin Company, less than 4 years after its establishment, has injected $1 billion into the 4 major state-owned banks. As for the latter's trillion yuan bad debts, they have been quietly wiped out by the central bank and the Ministry of Finance. China Investment Corporation (CIC), which had a lot of activity, started preparing in March and had already smoothly released its investment within 6 months. It even eagerly completed its investment in Blackstone in May as a foreign exchange investment company. Unfortunately, this investment not only failed to make a profit, but also paid tuition fees. It is not surprising that similar situations are also common in areas such as state-owned enterprise reform. On the other hand, there is a slow response in market construction and scientific coordination. The capital market has been open 4 years and is still a lame duck. The defect of the listing mechanism only of the market value, too few trading varieties, no short selling mechanism, etc., make the capital market have to endure the pain of no intermediate transition space. After years of procrastination on the Next board, small and medium-sized enterprises that are short of money have waited until the flowers withered. As for antitrust, there are many slogans and few actions. The anti-monopoly W was only introduced after years of monetary economy based on credit, but with the increasing growth of financial derivatives, credit has gradually been hijacked by a group of people who love to tell stories and lack integrity, leading to the most abusive use of credit in financial civilization. The most lacking aspect is integrity. The reason why the subprime crisis triggered a run on banks was not that creditors did not believe in the strength of financial institutions, but that they did not believe that other creditors would believe in the short-term nature of the bank's crisis and would make rational choices to support each other. On the other hand, although the financial crisis is not driven by morality, it will ultimately change morality. If agricultural civilization is shortage economy through the 3 cardinals and 5 constants to curb human desires, industrial civilization is an excess economy that tempts and indulges human desires through advertising culture. The financial civilization is an economic bubble, forging yin and yang people by telling stories. Many overseas hedge funds with illiquid financial derivatives often artificially manipulate prices and go to investors to solicit credit, even offering bonuses for their good performance. At the beginning of this year, while major international investment banks were singing short of China, they were building positions and applying to increase their QFII quota on a large scale. But none of them fell, demonstrating their yin and yang nature undoubtedly. In fact, all financial market participants, including managers, are determined by their interests, and Greenspan is no exception. If he were still the chairman of the Federal Reserve, believing that the subprime crisis would not be avoided, could he still find answers for irrationality? Following closely the United Kingdom and the United States, financial civilization began to strike the Chinese coast. Consistent with the rapid development of China's economy to this end, China's capital market seems to have matured overnight. In more than a year, the securitization rate has rapidly reached %. Obviously, there is no acclimatization of financial civilization in China, and the most suitable terrorist prospect for Chinese financial civilization lies in the national character itself first. Smart and flexible, China has always had the tradition of eastward spread of Western learning has spread to the East, and foreign things are used in China. Having suffered from the loss of financial giants in storytelling, they quickly changed their minds to become masters of their own. For example, among share-listed companies, the increase in issuance is ostensibly aimed at improving their operating ability and strengthening their main business. But in fact, there are not a few people who use the money they have raised to speculate in new shares. In the process of promoting marketization, administrative monopoly has also been strengthened, which is precisely the expression rising to a high point. The total market value of listed companies in the Shanghai and Shenzhen stock markets has experienced a fission growth, reaching trillion yuan, of which the market value of A shares is trillion yuan, becoming the largest emerging market and the 4th largest securities market in the world. The securitization rate of China's economy has continuously crossed the threshold of % and % from % a year ago, which is comparable to the level of the international mature market. A number of aircraft carriers, such as PetroChina, China Shenhua, China Co-Construction Bank, China Railway Group Limited, have achieved securitization through the issuance of new shares through IPO. A number of central armies, such as China Shipbuilding, Xian Aircraft International and Dongfeng Electric Machinery have realized securitization through overall listing. A large number of national team companies such as NFC, CNOOC Haisheng and Huadian Energy have realized securitization through the conspiracy theory failed in the subprime crisis. It is undeniable that there have been instances in history where certain families or consortia controlled a country or the international financial system for a certain period of time, such as the Rothschild family, the Morgan Consortium, etc. However, in today's global financial integration, financial strategies between countries and the strategies of multinational consortia are highly likely to hedge or offset each other in the process of implementation, even if the conspiracy is successful. As a member of the international financial system, it is also difficult to stay out of the crisis. Just like Nazi Germany provoked World War II, but was finally destroyed by World War II. Thus, compared with honest labor and to each according to his contribution in industrial economy, financial civilization controls capital with wisdom, but the result is full of uncertainty. And the most important point is that Fukuoka once said before that story is the general equivalent of financial civilization. Its characteristic lies in identifying the differences in things and exaggerating them infinitely. One of the reasons why Britain and the United States can monopolize the forefront of financial civilization is this. For example, when Morgan Stanley opened the door to the non-performing asset market in China's banking industry in the problem faced by the Chinese banking industry was clearly how to reduce the non-performing asset problem in new loans, while Morgan mistakenly described it as how to dispose of existing non-performing assets. In the United States, Morgan's main method of disposing of non-performing assets is clearly to buy them and wait for the recovery of the macroeconomic environment. But in China, they promote the so-called popsicle theory rather than slowly melting them down. It is better to sell them quickly, and for a long time. The U.S. Congress has always regarded real trade as the entire economic issue between China and the United States, and has been working with the White House to reap the benefits one by one. So, it's not just small scammers who are scammers, but big companies, institutions, and countries. As the saying goes, behind every huge fortune lies a profound evil. The financial explosion has brought unprecedented prosperity and high-quality living enjoyment to people. But it has also laid the foundation for injustice, the seeds of sex, uncertainty, and deception, just like the industrial economy. Start from utilizing resources to being limited by them, from creating wealth to wasting wealth. And when a thing develops to its extreme, alienation arises. In this way, it seems easy to imagine the terrifying prospect of a financial civilization that is passionate about storytelling. On the one hand, the alienation of credit. The financial explosion has exploded the connection between tempting interest rates and honest products, such as the bond derivatives market, entertainment, Mobile TV and online gaming competitions have emerged one after another. And even the Second Life allows people to live an alternative life, which is a product of young people's right-brainedness. Moreover, the right brain's counteraction and subversion of the left brain have already appeared. The separation of the real and virtual economy allows stock prices to no longer rely on physical performance but instead on imaginative space. Whoever has a good story can control expectations, and the stock price rises quickly. The emergence of Google culture, with its casual and entertaining work culture, calls for freedom to play and emphasizes entertainment. Feeling and wasting time correctly have instead become manifestations of efficiency. And such things precisely indicate the expansion of the development space of the right brain. Continuing like this, the focus of the future will clearly shift from left brain to right brain. But this does not mean left brain. The brain will be abandoned. Practice is the only criterion for testing truth, and science is the primary productive force are still unchanging truths. Left-handed thinking methods such as logic and calculation are still in use, but the variables that affect the situation increase, and factors interact with each other. In addition, the weight of uncertainty factors such as expectations increases. As reform enters the deep water zone, scientific and rational thinking frameworks are actually constrained. Jumping out of the frame with right brain thinking may be more practical. Therefore, the two tractive forces of the aging left brain and the youth right brain are likely to launch a tug of war, so that the problem is no longer a multiple choice that is either left or right, and the solution will also become the middle way of both left and right and neither left nor right. This shift in mindset will drive turbulence at all levels of society, rapidly pulling society into a new era of business opportunities. On the one hand, as the focus of future society shifts from the left brain to the right brain, from rationality to sensibility, from technology to emotion, from the switch from efficiency to satisfaction will also shift the requirements for goods from functionality to ethics, from usefulness to entertainment, from one-way to interactive, and from material to spiritual. This change is not perceived through abstract thinking or rigid mode operations, but rather through personal experience and self-exploration. Free trials, free tasting, interactive is for home appliances, and sample rooms are gradually making experiential consumption mainstream, and online experiential marketing has enabled the domestic trial customer base to exceed 3 million. The comprehensive emergence of the experience economy indicates that for pricing, necessary ineffective labor, financial literature. One of the biggest characteristics of Ming is irrational prosperity, which includes a large number of investment failures and currency evaporation. It is these essential ineffective labor that achieve irrational prosperity. Acceleration of factor integration, that is, under the combined effect of globalization and informatization, the process of financial transactions are compressed. Efficiency is greatly improved, and the speed of factor integration is unprecedented, resulting in unimaginable scale and effects. Cognitive differences have become an important variable affecting financial activities. That is, different cognitive levels and abilities determine the status and destiny of countries, enterprises and individuals in financial civilization. If they are misled by conspiracy theory and take this as an action model, their future can be imagined. The foundation of this axiology comes from the formula of economic globalization plus market economy system equal money surplus. That is, the exchange-oriented market economy itself is a system of producing surplus money, and globalization has enhanced the ability to produce surplus money. The surplus money provides a prerequisite for the independence of currency transactions from the real economy, creating a currency as the trading object, and carrying out capitalization, securitization, marketization and internationalization upgrading, and ultimately, it will free from the constraints of traditional media, happily generate money, and create a new economic model of economic prosperity and prosperity. However, this perfect process has been embedded with the original sin of marketization from the beginning. Just like the original sin of agricultural civilization is the original sin of land concentration and industrial civilization is resource monopoly, the original sin of information civilization is information overflow, and the original sin of financial civilization is currency surplus and evaporation. Although Greenspan and Bernanke believed that there was a problem in the market, the media believed that it was the result of excessive morality, financial innovation and unfavorable government regulation. Soros believed that it was the result of market fundamentalism, and Europeans believed that there was a problem with capitalism and liberalism. They almost invariably ignored the fact that the original sin of the market overproduction and the fact that the surplus currency lost its anchor of stability. Moreover, there is a lack of insight into the commodification attributes of currency. Currency has long surpassed traditional attributes such as exchange, circulation, and storage, and has become the world's most important trading product. The amount of capital trade is hundreds of times as that of real economy trade. As a commodity, it must follow general laws, and it is difficult to escape the cycle of economic crisis. The fate of Ray